1994, Phoenix Mountain, China. A farmer walks into the forest and comes back claiming an alien woman tried to have his child. Police, scientists, and even national TV got involved to investigate. This is the whole story. Hello everyone, welcome back to Hidden Lantern Chronicles. Tonight we are looking at one of the highest level alien contact cases ever recorded by humanity, if not the highest. It is one of the only cases in UFO history where a witness went through nearly every level of encounter, from sighting to being struck by a beam, to communication, to abduction, to sexual contact, and even the claim of a future hybrid child. Our story begins in northeastern China, in the deep forests of Phoenix Mountain in Heilongjiang. It's late May and early June 1994. The world is waiting for a cosmic spectacle, the Shoemaker Levy 9 comet that is about to slam into Jupiter. But while everyone is looking up at Jupiter, something strange appears. Local forest workers and villagers start talking. On the southern slope of Phoenix Mountain, there seems to be a giant white object resting on the hillside. Some people say it's hovering. Some say they saw it flying around the area. Nobody can agree what it is. But everyone agrees on one thing: there is something on that mountain. Among the curious is a man named Meng Zhaoguo. At that time, he is just a 27-year-old worker at the Hongqi farm, a completely ordinary man living a hard but simple life. On June 6, 1994, Meng and a relative decide to go see this thing with their own eyes. When they finally spot it from a distance, it's not a helicopter, not a weather balloon. Meng says it's a huge white object, about 150 meters long, shaped like a tadpole. A big round head at the front with a long thick tail behind. Not perfectly disc-shaped, not a classic saucer, but something more like a question mark or a deformed magatama, with the tail embedded in the stony slope as if it crash-landed. As they move closer, the thing suddenly emits an ear-piercing shriek. At the same moment, the metal tools and belt buckles on their bodies feel like they are being electrocuted. The shock is so strong, they panic and retreat down the mountain. At this point, it's just one more strange story. But this is only the beginning. Before we go further into Meng's experience, we need to understand what people mean by seventh kind contact. Back in the 1970s, astronomer J. Allen Hynek proposed a classification system for UFO sightings called close encounters. He talked about close encounters of the first kind, seeing a UFO within about 150 meters, clearly enough to describe its shape. Second kind, when a UFO leaves physical effects, heat, radiation, burned ground, frightened animals, engine failures, or missing time. Third kind, when witnesses see not only the craft but also beings associated with it, especially intelligent humanoid entities, sometimes communicating telepathically. Later, UFO researchers and enthusiasts kept extending the system to fourth kind, direct abduction, medical exams, experiments. Fifth kind, supposed deliberate two-way communication, humans actively trying to contact non-human intelligences. Sixth kind, people or beings injured or killed in the encounter. And then there's the one we are talking about today, seventh kind, interbreeding. Humans and non-human beings having sexual contact with the idea of hybrid offspring. In the UFO circles, one of the most famous seventh kind cases is exactly the one we're about to explore, the Meng Zhaoguo incident. So a few days after the first sighting, Meng reports the strange object to the forestry authorities. His story spreads among the workers, and curiosity grows. On June 9th, the union chairman organizes a group. About 30 people hike up to the area Meng described. When they arrive, they don't see any obvious craft, just slopes, rocks, trees. Someone takes out binoculars and looks toward the spot where Meng saw the object. Nothing. Then they hand the binoculars to Meng. The moment he raises them to his eyes, he claims he sees it again. The same white tadpole-shaped craft still on the slope. And this time he says there's someone standing in front of it. Not a human worker, not a soldier, a figure. Humanoid, but not human. According to Meng, the being raises a small object about the size of a matchbox, places it on its palm, and a bright beam of light shoots out. The beam hits Meng directly in the center of his forehead, between his eyebrows. He feels a massive jolt go through his entire body. Then everything goes black. From the outside, what the others see is this. Meng suddenly collapses, falls to the ground, and begins convulsing violently, like a seizure. His whole body jerks and twists uncontrollably. They are frightened. They haul him down to a small shed on the mountain, a makeshift rest hut the workers use. But inside the shed, things get even stranger. Witnesses say that in the shed, Meng appears to be possessed. His eyes are wide open, so wide his brother describes them as like a cow's eyes. He rolls on the ground, shouting and struggling, unable to respond normally to their voices. Several strongmen try to hold him down, but they can barely restrain him. At one point, they say he suddenly flips upside down, standing on his head so forcefully that he actually breaks the roof of the shed. At the same time, he seems terrified of metal objects. When the local doctor later tries to examine him with a stethoscope, Meng slaps it away in panic. The doctor, suspicious, decides to test whether Meng is actually faking. He lights up a cigarette, moves the glowing tip closer to Meng's eye, almost to the point of burning his eyelashes. A normal person would blink, flinch, look away. According to the doctor, Meng's pupil kept rotating left and right, as if tracking something else entirely. He doesn't react to the fire at all. To the doctor, there are only two explanations. One, Meng is an incredible actor. Or two, something in his mind or perception is deeply abnormal. From that day on, Meng is not himself. He's given medical leave more than a month off. His older brother spends most of that time looking after him. During this period, they say he is afraid of light, afraid of metal, sometimes suddenly flipping positions on the sofa, head and feet swapping places in an instant without the usual movement of getting up and turning around. On the surface, it looks like a severe mental breakdown, but Meng insists that what's happening is not inside his head at all. He says from the moment he was hit in the forehead, someone else has been with him. When Meng finally regains clearer awareness, he starts telling a story that shocks even the people who already believe in UFOs. He tells the Forestry Bureau's new officer and the later researchers and journalists that during his long semi-conscious period, there was a female being with him. He says she was about 3 meters tall, with 6 fingers on each hand. Her body was covered in a tight suit, leaving her face and the private area exposed. Her eyes were enormous like cow eyes, and her skin on the exposed area had a slightly purplish blue tint, with some red very different from human skin. He calls her simply the female alien. According to Meng, this being was in his house during the entire period, but only he could see her. His family, his co-workers, no one else ever saw a thing. He says that some of the times he was waving his arms and shouting, he was actually resisting her because she was trying to force sexual contact with him. He claims that during one trip down the mountain on a small work train, he felt her press down on him. She was so large he couldn't move at all, and he felt intense heat, especially in his lower body, along with sharp pain. He later describes this not as sex in the human sense, but as a kind of disinfection or preparation for something that would happen later. At night, back at home, things escalate. Meng says that one night while his wife and child were sleeping quietly beside him, the female being came again. This time he says he floated above the bed while his body remained on it. In that strange state, he says he engaged in sexual intercourse with her for about 40 minutes. He insists there was no sound, no movement that woke his wife or child. To them, the night was completely normal. For him, it was anything but. Afterward, he noticed new marks on his body, a scar on the right side of his lower abdomen, a scar on the inside of his right thigh about 5 centimeters long, and of course, the burn on his forehead from the beam. Meng later describes another night, on July 16th, when a male being appears in his room. This one is even taller than the female, dressed similarly in a tight suit showing only 2 large eyes. He says this being speaks fluent Chinese. According to Meng, the being says, "Come with me." Meng hesitates, asking where they're going. The being takes him by the hand and walks directly towards the corner of the room where 2 walls meet. To Meng's shock, they do not stop. They simply pass through the wall as if it isn't there. From the outside, the house looks normal. No holes, no cracks. Yet Meng insists they exited straight through solid structure. Outside, it's dark and cold. Sensing this, the being pulls out a large piece of cloth, folds it a few times into a shape of a giant cup with a handle, puts Meng inside, and then rubs his hand along the edge. Meng says the fabric then seals itself, keeping him warm inside. The being lifts the cup, and they lift off into the air. They fly for a short time, and soon they arrive over a valley. Below, he sees many strange craft parked on the ground, some disc-shaped, some like the tadpole-shaped craft he saw on Phoenix Mountain, some resembling flies. Many of them appear to be surrounded by circular rainbow halos. The being produces another small box-like device, aims it at the rainbow barrier, and fires a beam that opens a gap. They pass through and descend. Inside what appears to be a larger craft or base, Meng is led to a central area. There he sees another figure, even taller and larger than the others, with a rounder head and even bigger eyes, sitting on a floating platform. To Meng, this is clearly the leader. The beings, he says, communicate among themselves in high-pitched squeaking sounds, almost like mice. But when they speak to Meng, they use Chinese. He asks why they've come to Earth. One of them replies that they have 3 purposes. 1 is to study and investigate the Earth. 2, to take refuge from danger. 3, to collect genetic material, seeds, and deliver a warning to humankind. Stop wasting resources on war and protect the environment. The leader explains that they came to avoiding a cosmic disaster, a comet that will soon collide with Jupiter. In other words, the Shoemaker-Levy 9 event that the entire world is about to witness from Earth. To show Meng exactly what they mean, they take out another box-like device. A flat surface lights up, displaying moving images of planets, orbits, fragments, and impact trajectories, like a live demonstration of the coming collision. Later, back on Earth, when Meng watches the real Shoemaker-Levy 9 impact on television, he feels a cold shock. He had already seen that inside that craft. Meng then asks about the female being he encountered earlier. Can I see her again? He asks. The answer is direct. No, she does not wish to see you again. One of the beings adds something else. Within 60 years on our world, a child will be born, a descendant of a Chinese farmer. To Meng, the meaning is unmistakable. They're talking about his child. When he asks if he will ever see this child, the answer is again no. The leader raises a hand, signaling his subordinates not to elaborate further. The beings tell him they come from a distant world they call Hamwar. They arrived in the solar system 15,000 years ago and built a base on Ganymedes, one of Jupiter's moons. They warn that if humanity continues nuclear testing and moves toward nuclear conflict, civilization could destroy itself through radiation and war. To prove the encounter is real, they give him 2 meteorites of different sizes, material they say comes from Jupiter, and hand him a message for humankind written in both Chinese and English. And through all of this, their message remains the same. Stop fighting each other. Stop destroying your environment. If you do not change, you will not survive. Eventually, the leader instructs the original male being to take Meng home. They travel back through the air, and according to Meng, they entered his yard. The being leaves him there and departs. Meng looks at his watch. It is around 3:40 a.m. on July 17th. Back at home, Meng is still in half-dream state, but by the next morning, he is more awake and notices something odd about his body. The wounds that once hurt now no longer feel painful. Instead, they itch. He scratches at the scars on his thigh and abdomen and claims that he pulls loose a transparent elastic film from his skin, like a gel bandage that can stretch very far and then snap back. He believes this was some kind of advanced dressing, a bandage left by the beings to speed up healing. Some researchers later suggest the same idea, that it was an alien bandage with high-speed regenerative properties. But unfortunately, there is no sample. His wife, not knowing what it is, simply throws it away while cleaning the room. If the story is true, that would have been the only physical artifact left by the visitors. Now it's gone. Meanwhile, the forehead burn is diagnosed by the local doctor as a deep, high-temperature burn consistent with a sudden intense heat source striking his brow. So, is the Meng Zhaoguo incident real or fake? Supporters believe there's evidence that something strange happened. For example, multiple villagers reported seeing a bright, unusual object on Phoenix Mountain in 1994. Meng collapsed violently, displaying abnormal strength, fear of metal, and seizure-like movements witnessed by dozens of people. A doctor diagnosed a deep, instantaneous burn on his forehead, matching his beam of light claim. Public Security, Xinhua National News Agency, and the State Science and Technology Commission all opened formal investigations, extremely rare for a rural UFO report. In 2003, Meng passed a polygraph under hypnosis. His thigh scar was described by a doctor as not from any normal injury or surgery. Supporters argue a village-wide hoax in 1994, rural China, tricking police, journalists, and scientists would be extremely difficult. However, skeptics have their doubts. First, no physical artifacts survive, no device, no meteorites, no gel-like bandage. Second, the Heilongjiang Science Commission concluded a likely hallucination or psychological disturbance. Thirdly, some details from Meng Zhaoguo's recounts changed over the years, like distances and timings. And then, polygraph tests can only confirm belief, not objective reality. Also, no one besides Meng ever saw the beings themselves. So, what happened after Meng Zhaoguo claimed he met aliens? His life actually fell apart. Reporters mocked him, his daughter was bullied in school. After his biggest supporter, his wife, died, he left Phoenix Mountain in shame, working low-paid jobs in Harbin. He never spoke about UFOs again, at least not in public. But the mountain he ran from? It became famous. Phoenix Mountain turned his encounter story into a mega tourist brand, selling tickets, building hotels, and attracting hundreds of thousands of visitors each year. The town got rich, the legend grew, and the man at the center of it all was left behind. Did Meng Zhaoguo truly experience a rare seventh kind encounter, or was it a hallucination born from stress and fear? A rural story magnified by media? Until legend replaced memory, we may never know. But one thing never changed from his first interview in 1994 to his final public words decades later. Whenever someone asked him if the story was fake, if he imagined it, or if he made the whole thing up, Meng always gave the same quiet answer: I wasn't dreaming. So, what do you think? Is Meng Zhaoguo's encounter real or something else entirely? This is Hidden Lantern Chronicles. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next story, where another mystery awaits.